Joining us now, Maryland's Democratic Governor Wes Moore. He's member of the Biden-Harris campaign's National Advisory Board. Governor, great to see you this morning. Happy New Year. So let's talk about the ad and the context around it. On the one hand, the president is going to go out this year and tout what he believes is a strong economy, that the numbers we've seen will continue into the new year. On the other hand, as we just saw in that ad, setting the stakes for this election in broader terms around democracy.
I think that's right, and I think one thing we're seeing is the stakes of this election are important and on the line, but also the frame and what people are going to hear for the next 10 months, because we're going to watch Donald Trump, who's going to spend the next 10 months fighting for his freedom and fighting for his future. But one thing we're not going to hear over the next 10 months is him fighting for any of ours. We know that the future of our democracy is going to matter in all of this, and having this being announced and having the president going to Valley Forge, my old stomping grounds where I got sent to military school when I was 13 years old, and also being here right in front of the in Annapolis where George Washington resigned his commission for the first time, really letting the people know that the power does not belong to an individual. The power belongs to the people. So I think the president is really setting the stakes and really hoping to set the platform for what people are going to hear. From him, it's a vision for their future. For Donald Trump, they're going to hear a vision about his future. That's the difference.
So, Governor, let me ask you then, with all that said, and those are the stakes for this election as set out by the campaign, some of these numbers that we've seen recently, knowing that we are still a ways out from Democratic votes being cast here, about the way the coalition, Democrats, young people, black voters, Latino voters are feeling about this president. Some kind of stunning numbers in a USA Today Suffolk University poll just a couple of days ago that show Donald Trump actually for now leading among Latino voters. That's a group of voters that Joe Biden won by more than 30 points in 2020. Black voters, Joe Biden's support eroding there, though not going to Donald Trump, but perhaps some voters looking at a third-party candidate. And notably young voters who seem to be fishing around looking for an alternative as well. How do you explain those trends?
Well, I know over the next 10 months that the president is going to be going around and making the case and also continuing to work with all of us as surrogates to remind people about what's actually happening. If you look at what's happening, here in the state of Maryland, the reason that we've been able to have so much momentum, the reason that in Maryland we have the lowest unemployment rate in the entire country, that we have made systematic impacts on being able to address the racial wealth gap, our ability to create a diverse administration that's making sure we're seeing every single part of our state. That's being done in partnership with the Biden administration. That's being done because we're able to have not just resources and guidance, but a true sense of partnership with the federal government in order to make sure that all groups, to include African Americans and young voters and Latino voters, are not just being seen in this process, but are advancing in significant clips. And so I think we're going to go out there and we're going to make the case and to show people that the actions that we're seeing from the federal government, the action we're seeing from the Biden administration are translating into the everyday lives of young voters who are watching everything from environmental protections that are being put forward in the strongest voice that we've seen in any administration historically, that we're watching abortion rights being protected all across the country. In the state of Maryland, we're now going to have abortion rights on the ballot to put as part of our Constitution in the next election. All of these things that are happening that young voters are crying out for us to be able to address, they're happening in partnership with the Biden administration, and we're going to continue making that case.
Governor Moritz Jensaki, Happy New Year. I wanted to just raise, because you're a very effective communicator, Happy New Year. And one of the frustrations I know the president has, or had when I was working for him, is he wants more Democrats out there echoing his message. You're doing that now. But I think the question I have for people watching right now, and they're ready to just roll up their sleeves for election year, is what is the 30-second pitch for why Joe Biden is better? Is it abortion rights? Is it economy? Is it democracy? It may be all of them. But give people what is the pitch they should be doing to their neighbors out on their streets when they're doing volunteer phone calls right now.
I want people to remember that we have a president who sees us. I asked the Jewish American to remember that we have a president who does not see good people on both sides when it comes to Charlottesville. I want to remind immigrants to this country, people like my mom, who was an immigrant single mom who raised 3 kids on her own, that we have a president who sees us and understands that we have a population that's looking to support this country and who believes in the future of this country and is not looking to tear it down. I want to say to all the young people and the young voters out there that we have a president who understands that the future of our environment matters, and who understands that things like being able to address student loans and the cost of insulin for our seniors, that matters. And we have a president who doesn't just see us, but a president who's fighting for us. And we know what the alternative is. The alternative is someone who's going to spend the next 10 months fighting for his own future, fighting for his own freedom. But the thing that makes me so excited to get out there every single day and campaign for this president is not because I'm scared of the alternative, but it's because I know what we can get done and what he has already gotten done on behalf of the American people. And imagine, look at what we've gotten done just here in Maryland in the first year. Imagine if you can give me 4 more with this president. That's why I'm excited to get out there and do everything I can to make sure that Joe Biden gets another 4 years.
All right, Governor, before we let you go, perhaps the most important and frankly easiest question for you today. It's a 2-parter. Number 1, is there any question in your mind that the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the NFL, or that Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the NFL?
I don't think there should be any question in anyone's mind. If you look at just what happened over the past couple of weeks, the Baltimore Ravens didn't just beat 2 of the best teams in the NFL, in the Dolphins and also the 49ers. They dismantled both of them. This is the most complete team in football. It's the best defense in football. It's the best offense in football, best special teams. And also, until someone finds an answer for Lamar Jackson, there is no answer for Lamar Jackson. He is by far the league MVP. He's putting together a really special year, and we're preparing to head to Vegas sometime in February for the Super Bowl, and we're looking forward to it.
I thought that question might fire you up, Governor. We should point out, since Governor Moore was sworn into office, the Orioles' best record in the American League, Ravens' best record in the NFL. Coincidence? Who knows? Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
I'm just saying.
Governor, thanks as always. Good to see you.